And severe storms are moving across parts of Kentucky here this afternoon. Numerous warnings are just jumping all over the place right now out towards southern Kentucky, where now we have a tornado warning in effect. Let's get straight to the live pinpoint Doppler radar, where a tornado warning now occupies a couple of counties, and seeing reports coming in from over in Pulaski County of a funnel cloud being reported. Not sure where the report came from. It says law enforcement. Law enforcement reporting a funnel cloud over near Eubank in Pulaski County. So that would be the reasoning behind the issuing of the tornado warning there for the folks in Pulaski County and a couple of other locations. And right here, I'll zoom in on the cell so you all will be able to see it a little bit better. And the cell itself, actually not looking that impressive as far as its girth. It's just basically a small little area with some rotation within it that is moving off toward the north and east here this afternoon, possibly producing a tornado. We knew the atmosphere was right for it, and it certainly looks that way. There you see Eubank. That's where law enforcement said that they saw a funnel cloud. Now, sometimes those can be confused, but a lot of these folks have been trained and gone through the proper channels to see exactly what they're looking for when they're out there in the field. So a lot of emergency management folks and law enforcement folks all go through at least training one time a year, so they know what to look for. So usually a pretty good source of information there. But a funnel cloud reported near Eubank, and you see Eubank there on your screen, and then you see the cell just to the north. And sometimes what you get is you get a little bit of the storm activity. Let me throw my mouse up there. I don't believe you can see that. Usually you can get it right in that general area on the southern side of the storm as it races off toward the north. And rotation has been just showing up over and over again right through there. And that little marker that you just saw pop up, that's what that indicates. It indicates there's certainly some rotation in there, and I suspect that would be where it was at when it was passing through Eubank, because that was just at just a few minutes ago, right around 3:17. And by the time we got everything situated here and got on the air, I got on the air a couple of minutes ago, and probably the timing on that was right dead on as far as when they were calling in this report with that severe thunderstorm and that possible funnel cloud over there from the law enforcement. Let me pull the radar data down so you can see who's highlighted here, and we'll go in a little bit closer in a moment. But it goes from parts of Pulaski County to Rockcastle County, and an interesting little shape here, but it certainly goes all the way up toward the north and toward the east. So you got parts of Pulaski, Rockcastle, and Jackson County all under the gun until 3:45. So we're about 20 minutes away or so, and we're going to stay right here with you until this warning either expires or they let it go a little bit early. And we always hope that they let it go early. We hope it doesn't ever run its route, and we hope the conditions are never completely favorable for this type of development. All right, we'll go into northern parts of Pulaski County because that's where the cell is at. You've got Goochtown, Clarence, Beelick, all of these locations near that cell that's possibly producing a tornado. Again, reports of funnel clouds coming out of this, likely prompting your warning over there in Pulaski County and the couple of other counties that surround that area. Now you see 39, and right here that's 70. So you're looking at two of the major roads that are moving through there, some of the probably more heavily traveled roads. Liberty Road there as well. There's Highway 328, and this is right where the storm's at, I believe. Raymond Todd Road, all of these locations under the gun right now with that cell sitting right there on top of them with the tornado warning that lasts for the next 20 minutes or so for you folks in the northern parts of Pulaski County and a couple of other counties surrounding you. Let me travel up along the warning, and then we'll get back to the radar data, and I'll also throw some tips up here for you so you know what's going on. Again, we're traveling right along, that's 70 again, right into, there goes another tornado warning just outside of our coverage area, but you can see that it's alive and well. Let me just highlight this so we can see who all is under it. A couple other counties out there, so you see Gary, Lincoln, and Madison also under the gun because of the potential for tornadoes. So that's the county we're looking at right there. But here's 70, 150, all of these locations as we move toward Rockcastle County, and that's where I'm showing you right now. That'll be under the gun within the next little bit. I'll throw a storm track up here in a moment so you can see exactly who's going to be in the way of this storm over the next little bit, and we can kind of time it out for you and break it down. According to the path, it looks like it's going to try to skip Mount Vernon, and the track that it has been on has certainly indicated that it will travel in just this general direction. That's why the swath is not that big for the warning. You got Broadhead, though, a little populated area over there in Rockcastle County. Then you go right across I-75, and we know a lot of people may be heading out of town, in town, whatever it may be, this time of the day for the weekend. So I-75, heavily traveled, continue to travel off toward the north and toward the east, and you see parts of Jackson County here. There's Kirby Knob, so you go over just barely into the western sections of the county. So tornado warning active for all of those locations here for the next little bit. That even stretches right on through the folks in Madison County and even into Estill County. You see the city of Irvin there. All right, I'm going to throw the radar data back up, and so you can see the cell itself. There it is, still indicating some rotation with that little marker that you're seeing, that little circle that's showing rotation within the storm. We look for that because when you start to see the storm start to rotate, that's when you can see the possibility of a tornado come out of it. One of the key ingredients for this type of development. You got to have that rotating area within the storm. Now, again, I promised you a storm track, and that's what we'll do. We'll throw up our storm track here, pull it out, and we'll take it off toward the northeast, and we'll take it from the front of the most severe section. Storm moving off toward the north and east here with us, and you can see that we're looking at all these locations, possible affected 90,000 people in all of those locations, and this goes all the way even into some counties there considered in central Kentucky, but nonetheless they're out there going through Berea, Clover Bottom, all of these locations within the next few minutes, as a matter of fact. Even has some areas outside of the actual warning time, but you never can tell. Sometimes these can hold together. We're just trying to give you a good indicator of where this is going and how fast it's going to get there within the next little area in the next few minutes. And that's what we're going to stay on the air with you for until the warning has been allowed to expire. We've got a tornado warning in effect there. Numerous other warnings have been issued throughout the day. What do you need to do when this type of situation arises? Here's the tips. Go to your basement or the lowest point of your home. And again, what we mean by the lowest point of your home, if you've got a two-story house, you want to be on the bottom floor, whether that's the first floor or the basement, wherever that may be, that's where you want to try to get yourself to. And once you get to that location, you want to try to cover yourself up. Pillows, blankets, whatever it is. Anything to add on to your body. A little extra shell, like a football player wears pads to play in a football game. That's what you need to do. You need that extra protection all around your body. Interior hallway or room, and what we mean by that is once you get to that bottom floor, specifically the bottom floor, if you don't have the basement, if you're on that first floor, you want to try to get in the hallway or a little closet in the hallway and put as many rooms and doors and walls in between the outside world, between you and whatever may be out there. And then, of course, stay away from windows, easily broken. Debris can come flying through those without any problem. All right, new report coming in here from Eubank in Pulaski County. A spotter reported. Now, this is a trained spotter. That's what I was talking about a little while ago and how important these people are. A trained spotter reported a tornado on the ground with debris visible and appeared to be near Kentucky Highway 328. That came in at 320. That's when they issued that report. So let me bounce back up here. I'll bounce back up to the radar, and we'll readjust our views and odds and ends, and we'll go in and look at 328. And that was, they say, 2 miles northeast of Eubank. That report coming in, and try to highlight that area in particular. Again, you're seeing all these cylinders on the radar, some of them indicating potential large hail, some indicating rotation within the storm, the yellows indicating just some rotation. We'll keep those up just as reference points, at least for now, just to see what's going on and how the computer is seeing this. So there's the storm, and again, we were in Eubank with the potential funnel cloud and the potential storm on the ground. So there's Eubank, and I believe we'll highlight some of these roads. There's 70, there's 27, there's 1247, 1247, and 70. So right in that general area. So he said it was 2 miles northeast of Eubank. So we'll try to get off to that area and just to kind of show you where that was at, looking for just a particular road as we roll along here. So there we go. So you see all of these roads, these areas that were highlighted, and possibly seeing a tornado on the ground, again, on the ground over there in Pulaski County. And what that does is that highlights the danger, the potential danger out of this storm that we're looking at right there on your radar. Just outside of our coverage area, but still causing some problems and still expected to move into more places, just like where we're at. Still expected to move across parts of Rockcastle County. Not exactly right through the heart of it, but it could skirt it there and move very close to the community of Brodhead with this track off toward the northeast. So we're going to watch it very closely. You see Turkeytown showing up, Brodhead, some of the locations that are just popping up on this particular view. And of course, a very important site there off in the distance, that blue area, that blue to gray road. That's I-75, and we know how heavily those interstates are traveled. So it could cross right over the interstate and try to sweep through the northern parts of Rockcastle County and then eventually on into some of the other locations like toward Berea. And I know a lot of students around here, a lot of children attend a college there in Berea, on up into Eastern, to EKU there in Richmond. So the storm on the way. So keep that right there. At the Center for Rural Development there in Somerset, they're telling them they need to head for shelter. That was already passed through there a little while ago, saying that the situation has gotten very dangerous. And again, a trained spotter, as I mentioned, very close to Eubank in Pulaski County, saying that they did see a tornado on the ground, and they actually saw the debris. And the debris, what we mean by that, that's what you're seeing when you start to see the funnel start to get kind of dirty, and it actually can appear to you. Sometimes they don't get completely filled in, but in this case, looks like they had at least some debris starting to get scattered there on the ground, and the dust started to go up inside the storm. With tornado warnings out here for a couple of counties, we have to, of course, remember some of these tips. And those tips are just this. Again, let's pass these along to you because this is turning into possibly a very dangerous situation out there. Get to the basement, lowest point of your home, interior hallway or room on the bottom floor. If you have a two-story house, you want to be on that first floor, no basement, that's where you want to be. But again, basement going to be the safest place to be if you have one. And once you get there, you even need to get under maybe an old table, a workbench, whatever it may be that you can get under. Because if the tornado does, in fact, hit your house, it weakens the whole thing. And as the whole house could possibly get damaged, you could start to see debris falling in from the ceiling of your basement. So some of those large beams that support the actual house itself could start to fall as well. So that's why you want to add extra layers of protection to your body and try to get under maybe a desk, workbench, table, whatever it is, something really sturdy once you get to that basement. Interior hallway room on the first floor if you don't have that basement, because again, you just want to try to put yourself in the middle and away from the farthest away you can get from the storm while being inside, and that means putting more walls between you and the outside world. And then stay away from windows, of course. Keep that in mind always. Stay away from those windows, can be extremely dangerous. All of us, by the way, I'll quickly update you on this. You may have seen it if you've been watching us for a little while. All of us under a tornado watch. So the threat goes from Pulaski County to Pike County, at least for the potential for development. Everywhere in between included in on that. So we've got that going on for you here over the next several hours until 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock tonight, tornado watch in effect for all these counties highlighted on your screen. So we're not out of the woods yet. We've still got that potential out there for more development. Getting some reports also, nickel to quarter size hail out of the storm there in Pulaski County, the one that moved through there, that has just briefly moved out of our coverage area, but will continue to roll right along. You see it highlighted there. Let me turn the storm track off for just a moment so you can see it a little bit better. Right there, that storm that is now trying to get back into Rockcastle County. Storm reporter, or storm spotter, and local law enforcement both reported tornado west of Eubank near the Lincoln County line a little while ago. This tornado was located near Indian Lakes Park, or about 11 miles west of Mount Vernon, moving northeast at, let me pull that report back up, at around 35 miles per hour. So that's what we've got going on. Trailer overturned and flattened at intersection of Highway 70 and Highway 39 over there in Pulaski County in Eubank. So now these damage reports are starting to come in, and it looks like this indeed was a very potent storm moving through that area. So you folks there in Rockcastle County, just batten down the hatches and just kind of take it easy here over the next little bit. Get into your safe spot. If you can hear my voice, you just need to be in the safe place, basement, wherever you can get. to stay safe from this storm, because it's going to swing right back through, coming out of Lincoln County and coming in your direction, especially if you folks there in Brodhead. You may have noticed the rain's picked up a little bit in intensity. Well, there's a reason for that. We've got this storm on the way, and it's going to skirt right through this general area. It's going to continue to move and basically hover very close to the line there, the county line. And there comes our live update, and you can see where it continues to move to. So it's going to kind of skirt that line and move north and east for the next little bit. And it's pulled, I'll tell you, since I first started tracking this, it's pulled a little more northeast, but still generally off toward the northeast, but still it's out there, and it is a very dangerous situation with that tornado warning in effect through that area. You can see Crab Orchard as well, highlighted with that storm bearing down on those folks. And if you know somebody that may be in that community, I suggest you may give them a call via their cell phone if you can. The safest way to communicate right now, because if you put them on the phone with an actual landline, lightning can strike. Folks can be hit by lightning while on the house phone, but if you're going to communicate with somebody, that would be the best way to do it at this point. At this point, again. So we watch the storm cell move north and east here, and hopefully it'll start to weaken some, but it hasn't shown any signs of that just yet. As far as its coverage, it's gone down some with the most intense area. That has gone down just a little bit. But generally, as far as the storm itself, still staying pretty intense and moving north and east here this afternoon, right through Pulaski and then into the folks there in Lincoln County and then Rockcastle County also under the gun with this one. And I don't think that's the end of this cell. I believe there are more warnings that are pouring in here and pouring out through parts of central Kentucky too. So again, if you know any of you, maybe you got a kid there at EKU, a child at Richmond there, or a kid down at Berea, you want to give them a call and let them know what's going on, because that storm's just outside that area too. So let them know what is coming their way with this very small cell that is getting ready to cross Interstate 75 here within the next little bit, and it's on a one-way head-on collision, it looks like, with the community of Berea College there. So it'll be going right dead toward it within the next 15-20 minutes. Highlighting some of the roads real quick for you. There's 150. Here's I-75 in Rockcastle County. That's why we're on the air here, watching the folks there in Rockcastle County. There you see 421, and there's 25. Some of those heavily traveled roads as well. Nothing gets more heavily traveled, of course, than the interstate. And Interstate 75 right there, splitting right down Kentucky. It'll be right on top of that in just a little bit. But if the trajectory continues in this way that it's going, it looks like it'll be headed right toward Berea very soon. Once it gets out of our coverage area, we will return to regular programming, it looks like. We're getting ready to go into the 4 o'clock news as well, so just keep that in mind. But parts of Rockcastle County still highlighted with this tornado warning, for good reason too. It's packing a heck of a punch out there. Again, a trailer overturned and flattened that intersection of Highway 70 and 39. I think I was talking about those areas a little while ago. And that's what we're going to be watching, that storm, as it moves off toward the northeast. I believe that's the way it's trying to go right now. Right on top of Turkeytown, Brodhead just barely getting skipped by the most intense area, but sometimes that rotation can be lying a little bit outwards. Some of the latest indications saying there's rotation right through there. Now, sometimes that data, it takes it a second or two to really completely go over the entire storm and to see what it is actually doing. It looks like we're trying to get some new reports coming in here from the National Weather Service, updating left and right as they receive information from law enforcement and, of course, some of the storm spotters. And now we're just seeing a new severe thunderstorm warning just outside of our area, so that's okay. Still dealing with some large hail, winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. But as far as this tornado warning, that's what I'm looking for, to see if they're going to continue this or what. Looks like they're not saying anything just yet on this, and it was set to expire at 3:45. Most of Rockcastle County not exactly being highlighted and targeted. It's just a small location, a small area. Let me peel all the layers of the radar down, and there you see where it's at. And even the warning itself may be a little bit far off toward the south and east now, because most of the storm is right in that general area, and that's where the rotation or anything severe is going to be lying at, and it's actually over across the border. But it's going to continue to kind of skirt the county line, and as it does so, could still produce that damage. And I imagine we're checking on what happened out there in Pulaski County too, with the trailer being turned over and flattened. That's the word that I read, flattened, whatever that may mean. And I'm not sure what kind of trailer it was. Not sure if it was a tractor trailer, not sure if it was a mobile home, not sure. We'll just have to wait and see on the specific information. But whatever it was flattened out there in Pulaski County, turned over and flattened. Storm continues to barrel off toward the northeast, and with that little marker right there, we can also check on some other odds and ends. Quarter-sized hail possible out of this, and the probability of the hail is 100%, and probability of severe hail is at 90%. There you can see how that's tracking as well, some of the information coming in from that, but quarter-sized hail coming in. And again, as we go all the way through the 4 o'clock hour, they're still talking 100% chance. This data that's analyzing this is that the probability of severe hail, which now, by the way, is a little bit larger than it used to be. It's quarter-sized hail now. It sparks a severe thunderstorm warning, and it takes quarter-sized hail to be considered severe hail. So you're talking some significant stuff there to cause some damage, and on top of the fact that we have the strong winds and the possible tornado. Numerous reports saying they've seen it on the ground from storm spotters, law enforcement. So this storm cell right here, very dangerous. Already had a history of some damage, and significant damage at that, out in parts of Pulaski County. Watching the time now, we're at 3:43. This warning was set to go until 3:45. Still going to hold on here until we see official confirmation of what they're going to do. I don't think it's moving quite as fast as it was either. At least it doesn't look that way right now. But it's still out there and can still cause some damage, and at one time possibly producing a tornado in parts of Pulaski County, an area that is no stranger to that type of activity. That happens quite often down through there. One of those folks there in Pulaski and Laurel County, both high on the list as far as the overall reports and confirmed tornadoes. They're high up there on the list. The final numbers I can't even remember. It's changed a little bit in the last couple of years here, so I'd have to go back and do full research. But they're way up in the teens as far as confirmed tornadoes that have actually touched down on the ground. Right outside of Mount Vernon, still looking at that, right along 150. That's where the cell's at. And it continues its trek toward the north and northeast at around 30, 35 to 40 miles per hour. Not exactly racing off in any direction. It's just kind of basically pacing along here. And again, a little while ago, hearing those reports out of Pulaski County, possible tornado. Some of those roads highlighted in particular with this one. As it moves towards you, there's Bob Pipes Road. There's Cups Chapel Broadhead Road. One up here toward the north. Our computer is getting some new data right now, so it's a little slow to get them on there. There's Baker Road. There's Sailor Road. So if you know anybody in this area, they need to batten down the hatches for sure, because, or if you're in one of these areas, you need to batten down the hatches, because this storm has already had a history of possibly producing a tornado. Damage nonetheless out there in Pulaski County. So just to the north of Somerset comes Sulphur Road. And again, once again, that larger road that you're seeing there, 150. 150, that white line, that white road that is moving off toward the northwest. That's 150. We're sitting here right now at 3:45 waiting for the official word to come down on what this storm is going to do, if they're going to keep the warning out. It does look like it has gone through a little bit of a metamorphosis on the radar, so changing its picture a little bit. So now all of our counties out of the warning as far as the timeline is concerned. But they could reissue another statement here in just a moment. I'll stay right here and just for another minute or so to see what they're going to do officially with this tornado warning. Remember, everybody else, this is a good time to kind of pay attention to this. We are all under a tornado watch. Everybody you see there, everybody highlighted in red. That's not a warning, that's a watch. And this just means the conditions are favorable for it. I'll show you the difference here before I cut back to regular programming. Everybody's under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight, from Pulaski County, who's already apparently seen some damage, all the way over to Pike County, Bell County. Everybody there highlighted. 10 o'clock tonight, you've got a tornado watch. And the storms are out there, and I'll tell you, they are really impressive, especially down in Tennessee, where we've already seen numerous tornado warnings. What's the difference, before we cut away? What's the difference? Tornado watch means conditions are favorable for tornado development. Be prepared, put your plan into motion. Now, you may be going out to the ball field here this evening. Just remember, we do have the conditions that are very favorable for a tornado to develop. That means that you need to take every precaution. If you're going somewhere, it's Friday night, going out on a trip, going out to the movies, whatever, dinner, whatever it may be. Remember what's going on here. The tornado watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. It'll be a good night just to sit at home, watch a movie there at the house, actually. Tornado warning says it's been spotted or indicated on Doppler radar. And what we were getting out of Pulaski County just a little while ago suggested that there was one on the ground. And that's why those spotters are so crucial and such a help to have out in the communities, because they've been trained properly to recognize what a tornado is. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing and what it's not. So these people are very trained. And that's when you really need to take your shelter immediately. No official word there on the latest expiration of these warnings. So what we're going to do, by the way, funnel cloud popping up over there in Estill County too. So this continues to be a very active afternoon. I suspect we'll be back on the air with you very soon. First of all, we'll be on at 4 o'clock for Mountain News First at 4, and then maybe right back here with you again from time to time throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours for more breaking weather as it develops here across southern and eastern Kentucky. Now join us here in about 10-12 minutes for Mountain News First at 4. We'll be right back.